leave the ground. How did how did Russia hack them when they refused to let the FBI people use the servers?
Anything that we indicted the Russians for, the White House National Security Advisor is profiting from this when taxpayers paid for it.
Guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society.
So I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't get that, man. They go through all this trouble to get here and then come here and vote Democrat.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the American Awakening. Does appear as though audio is working okay. I got a horrible, for some reason or another, I'm all zoomed in right now on the Logitech camera. The other one doesn't get a very good image with the background in the screen background, and I wanted to be able to talk about that a bit tonight. Let me see. Let me put the mic up here a little bit higher, though, because I am sitting away from the mic a bit. Maybe that'll work better. But, okay, so let me do this without shutting this off here. Oh, did I break that? No, my goodness. There we go. Let's bump that up. Oh, that's at a ridiculous height, but okay. If you could see, right there is the mic, and it's horrible. Okay, so, any rate, now I gotta move it there. Any rate, interesting day today, right? So, and yesterday. So, January 1st, 2020. I wake up to find out that Jon Huntsman was the former Atlanta Council chairman. How did I find this out? Jon Huntsman was the... Let me see if I can bring that down just a bit. Jon Huntsman was the Atlanta Council chairman from 2014 to 2017. I discovered this because a private investigative firm out of Florida discovered bank documents and was trying to submit what they claim to be authentic bank documents to the Hunter Biden's baby mama, right, in her child support case. And so this PI firm states that in their bank records they have documents showing, and they've either submitted these to a court or they're trying to, and that these documents show a relationship between Atlanta Council and Burisma, which I would assume would be in the 2014 to 2017, 2018 range, right? But that they had a partnership with Burisma that was either laundering money or counterfeiting money. I'm not sure. And that this money was in excess of $150 million. And it was going between the Atlanta Council and Burisma. So I wanted to know who was the chairman of the board at Atlanta Council, because the subject that I named in my IG complaint in 2015 and subsequent complaints since was General James Jones. I worked for him for 8 years with a company called Dynology. And General Jones was the chairman of the Atlantic Council. He started in 2017. But I wanted to know who was doing that before him. So I looked, and it was Jon Huntsman. Now, why is that a problem? Because Jon Huntsman, his daughter, works, Abby Huntsman, works as a host of Fox News's morning show. I think she quit. She was a numerous guest on The Five and other things. I think she quit or resigned about the time that her dad took a position with Obama's with Trump's administration as the Russian ambassador. But when he left to go to become Russia's ambassador, he handed over the reins as the interim chairman to General James Jones. Now, as you know, since 2015, I've been warning you about this. Since 2016, since late 2016, I've tied multiple people, including John McCain, whom General Jones and his company Dynology, which I worked for, was John McCain's IT company through his primary, and then Paul Manafort took over from us after that. Once he won the primary, Paul Manafort lists on his website Dynology as their number one preferred partner. Most people think most newspaper articles that I've seen suspected 3EDC, their company, to basically be a sham anyway that contracted out all their work to other companies. So I'm going to assume probably Dynology picked up contract work under 3EDC even after the primary. I don't know that, but it's a good question to ask. Because at the same time that we were doing that, we were releasing the ShadowNet, which was the social media psychological warfare application the capabilities that I developed on a DoD contract in Iraq for General Jones, for his company, Dynology. And so, as I see, we made this commercially available after our contract ended in 2008, the end of 2008. And in fact, it went online, I think, commercially available pretty much the day that General Jones, or the month that General Jones took office as Obama's national security advisor. And we turned right around at that very same time, the same time he's being sworn in, and won another contract to where we licensed that technology back to the DoD on a much larger scale on a contract over in CENTCOM. So we have a lot of people here that are directly tied to the people that to the person that I was filing this complaint on, and I've been bitching about for several years. Somehow, and I have no idea how, but I was working with Fox beginning back in December 2018. And I had, through a friend, gotten Judge Janine Pirro's cell phone number. And sure enough, I called it. It was her. You would know that woman's voice anywhere in the world. And she was just walking into a doctor's office, so I caught her at a bad time. But she texted me back, I think a day later. I posted all the text messages online. You can verify all this. And that she was working on my issue. I had just left my congressman's office, Congressman Bill Arakis. Left his office because his chief of staff had just called Congressman Nunes' chief of staff. This is December of 2018, not 2019, not a couple weeks ago. over a year ago. So about January 13th, somebody else gave me the number of Sarah Carter. I reached out to her. I got a hold of her. We had a good long talk for about an hour or so. We exchanged emails and text messages back and forth till about mid-February. At which time I posted this email online. The last response I got back from her was that she was rolling out my story on Fox the following week. And it was going to be rolled out throughout the week because it was a big story and they couldn't tell it in one episode. Here I'm 12 minutes into this live broadcast. I'm trying to keep it under 20, and it's going to be impossible, right? So, but I'll do it. So I put, okay, so where am I at now? Okay. I'll just go to where we are today. Atlanta Council statement on the confirmation of Governor Jon M. Huntsman. This is from the Atlantic Council's website as U.S. Ambassador to Russia. Press release by the Atlantic Council. Where is that at? Here, I think it's right towards the bottom. Okay. During his tenure in Utah, was named the biggest managed state recognized by other. General James L. Jones has accepted the offer of the Executive Committee at the Atlantic Council's Board of Directors to serve as interim chair during the search for Governor Huntsman's replacement. General Jones served as chairman of the Atlantic Council from 2007 to 2009, prior to assuming his post as National Security Advisor for President Barack Obama. Now, so I have I've been fighting an IG case, an Inspector General case, a federal case, with against General Jones for since 2015. I hook up with Pirro and Carter. I get that message. That's where I was at. I get that message from Carter, and she's going to roll with it next week. I get another message, and she told me that she had been speaking with Judge Janine. I get another message from Judge Janine that says she's contacting Devin Nunes. Why is that important? Because Devin Nunes, as a whistleblower, I've exhausted all other options, and I'm following my chain of command. My chain of command sends me to the Congressional Intelligence Committee, of which in December of 2018, Devin Nunes was the head of. Then in February, right after I got that message from Sarah Carter, maybe before. I mean, they were like around the exact same time, or within a day of each other. And I got a message from Judge Pirro that said she was contacting Nunes in RE My Issue. You can see it on my website, victimoftheswamp.com. You can see it in many tweets that I've put out. It's readily available. And in that response, she said she was speaking to Devin Nunes. I never heard from her again afterwards. Now, who in the world, I can't tell you who I can't tell you everybody that has the ability to kill that story at Fox. It was killed. I never heard from him again. I never got an explanation of why. I never got anything, right? And it's extremely suspicious, and probably laws were broken. I'm suspecting between like the Smith-Mundt Act. There are laws between interactions between State Department officials and the media, right? There were IIA laws. When I worked IIA, we had policy guidelines that we had to follow. There were very strict regulations with IIA and its interactions with journalists. And IIA even points out that some journalists, depending on their audience and such, have a higher priority or a higher risk requirement to where if you go to someone like Sarah Carter, you could probably get away with it, no problem, without asking questions. If you go to someone like Judge Pirro, you're probably going to need an 06 or above to sign off on a memorandum for that, right? So I'm familiar with what goes on with this stuff. The policy guidelines are out there. I have no idea why they did what they did, but if they interfered with a whistleblower that's being denied IG protections, that's being denied whistleblower protections, potentially by the very people within the Senate Intelligence Committee that I'm supposed to be being protected by. Just to show you that I'm not partisan, I sent this same crap to Adam Schiff and to Dianne Feinstein and to Lindsey Graham. Nobody has done a damn thing. Nobody's contacted me back. Now that the information starts coming out. Now, this is going back for a long time, folks. Now the information starts coming out, potentially with these banking records and this relationship between Burisma and the Atlantic Council. And you've got the potential of people like Huntsman and Jones wanting to protect or cover up potential wrongdoing in Ukraine and pushing this information down, covering up, killing my story with Carter, killing my story with Bureau. I want to know, was Abby Huntsman involved in killing my story? Because if she was, her father could be directly involved in not even in a tangential way, in a very real way, with the obstruction of my whistleblower case to protect himself, to protect his relationship and the things that he was potentially doing with General Jones. Now, again, I wouldn't even be asking these questions. I wouldn't be on here even saying this if these people weren't allowed to be put in such positions. I looked up Gillian Turner today. Why? Because I saw her online. I saw her on Fox News giving feedback about South Korea and North Korea, which I felt was garbage. I spent 5 years in South Korea at $120,000 a year working for General Jones's company, working for General Jones. I answered directly to his son, Jim, who was the president of Dynology. I worked for him for 8 years. So then today I go to look up, who is this Gillian? And I find out, oh my God, she was both Bush and Obama's, she was a staffer on both Bush and Obama's National Security Council. I'm like, oh my God, that's awful. And then I scrolled down and I looked, and then I had to take another look, and I went, holy crap. Gillian Turner is the vice president of Jones Group International. She answers directly to Jones. I got it right here. I don't know how good this is turning out. This is Fox News' own website. This is Gillian Turner. Gillian Turner currently serves as full-time news correspondent on Fox News Channel, FNC. She joined the network as a contributor in 2014. You're going to start seeing a pattern with the Atlantic Council and their insertion into mainstream media and such around 2014 in a lot of things. Same time Huntsman's, same time Huntsman's taking over as the chairman of Atlantic Council. You've got Jones inserting people into Fox News. People, what I did for Jones, what I built for Jones was called the freaking shadow net. It was designed to do the exact same thing we indicted the 13 freaking Russians for. And these people are being inserted into Fox News, and they are being put on. I worked for 5 years for her boss in South Korea, and I'm telling you, her commentary on South Korea was crap. So you should actually kind of take that as more of a subject expert on South Korea than her, and we work for the same guy. I don't know if she's still working there or not. But why is Fox News putting analysts on their broadcast to inform Americans about what's going on who are profiting from defense contracts? How is this okay? Now, seems fair question for me to ask. If any of these people were involved with the very unethical and unexplained killing of my story, which I've posted online with text messages from Sarah Carter and Judge Janine Pirro. Are they going to be the new, assistant vice presidents at Jones Group International? And if Gillian Turner's not working for Jones Group International anymore, is she still getting checks from him? I almost guarantee that's their modus operandi. We are all being played a frickin' game on, and these people have destroyed my life. They've destroyed the life of my 4 kids, whom I held I listed in the Army at the age of 40, held a top secret frickin' clearance for the government, was a patriot doing my job, and my job was taken away because I refused to put my company before my country. I've got an email saying that exact thing from them. But yet Fox News is going to kill my story. And they're going to put people like this on there. Which really sucks because I kind of liked her. She's cute as a bug, right? You trust these people. You like these people. I liked Sarah Carter. I could never trust a freaking word that comes out of that woman's mouth. I was providing, what do they call that in journalism? I was a source. There's literally a journalistic code of ethics that says you don't screw a source. And I don't know how anyone can ever justify, excuse me, I don't know how anyone can justify just never calling me or responding back to me again after you send me a text message saying that you're running my story the next week. Own that. Because until she does, I can only assume she's on the same damn payroll this woman is. She's working with the same people that Huntsman was. Huntsman was in Russia. I'd like to know, is anybody asking questions why he's no longer the ambassador in Russia? You know, I'm saying right now, you ever watch that movie, what is it, Monk, right? And at the very end of Monk, he always goes, this is what happened. Well, you want to know what happened? I'll tell you, in my opinion, and I worked for these guys. I know their modus operandi. I've been saying they were doing this and behind this since 2015. But what really, in my 2015 IG complaint, really had nothing to do with the fabricated Russian dossier, the impeachment. You know, almost everybody in the impeachment thing was working for the Atlantic Council, Volcker. I mean, the list goes on. These were all friends with Huntsman. They had, what's his face, the dude with the squirrely mustache, Bolton. They had him. These people are all infiltrating the mainstream media, through the Atlantic Council, through these organizations. Zbigniew Brzezinski, he's the father of Mika Brzezinski. I'm telling you right now, these people are all like Goombas. They're all best friends. Jones owns intelligence companies, influence operation companies. Everybody, the moment that I saw John McCain had his hands on that dossier, and that Paul Manafort had his hands on that dossier, I knew, or was involved with it, I knew this was an influence operation from that day. And I've been saying it, and then all of a sudden, all these things start coming out. All these connections, Joel Zamel, Wikistrat. Jones is on the board of Wikistrat, Psy Group. They were indicted by Mueller for influence operations. All of these connections, all these people. CrowdStrike. That's Atlantic Council. All of these people. And I'm telling you right now, here's what happened. That original dossier that the conservative Republicans put together was originally an opposition research. Well, they were putting together in my opinion, they put together the opposition research, probably involving McCain, Jones, probably Huntsman, probably Zbigniew Brzezinski, however the hell you pronounce his name. And they put the opposition research together, and Trump is still winning, and they're like screwed. And then Trump wins the nomination. So what do? They need an insurance policy. So they take that document, they use IIA type capabilities, techniques, non-attribution, dissemination and distribution. They get that to the DNC, make them think like they're helping them out. The DNC, they would have probably even been involved in bringing steel in. And so now this is the DNC's document. How many times do you hear that document referred to as conservative Republicans from the National or whatever magazine that did that originally? But guarantee you look into that, you're going to find McCain, you're going to find Huntsman, you're going to find Jones. That's what they do, right? So Trump wins the nomination. What are they going to do? They can't let Hillary win, so they put all their efforts in behind to get Trump to win. That's why you had Mika, Morning Joe and Mika pushing Trump. But they did it knowing that, hey, we've got this insurance policy. And it's going to be all, the attribution on that insurance policy is going to be on the DNC. So as soon as Trump wins, which they put all their efforts into getting Trump to win at this point, as soon as Trump wins, they know that, okay, time to have McCain walk over and hand off the dossier to BuzzFeed. And then now the dissemination begins, right? And probably they expected to be able to get Trump out of office pretty quickly and put probably Pence in office, whether Pence knew he was part of this plan or whether or not they just moved him in there as a useful idiot. Not that Pence is an idiot. I didn't mean that. He's actually a pretty smart guy. He awarded Fred Taylor the Sagmore of the Wabash Award in Indiana, right? So Fred's a great man, 3-time Purple Heart recipient. But Pence may have known, may have not known. There are people that have been directly tied to Pence's staff that have been directly involved, like with the FBI, with the you guys know what I'm talking about there. So, I mean, you look at everything. Who would be more inclined to have information on Flynn to be able to go after Flynn than the former national security advisor, and with friends like Gillian Turner still on the national or former National Security Council under Bush and under Obama, right? So and working for Jones Group International. So all of these people are tied in together, and there's a reason for it. And I've been telling you that there would be. Let me look down here, and I'm seeing some of these things. Let me go through. Sorry, English. I can't. Okay, I don't speak Spanish. She's on The View now with Whoopi and all the liberal loons. That would be. I think we're talking about Meghan McCain. Look who Meghan McCain's married to. She's married to a guy who owns a big Washington media outlet. They all are. They all do. And yeah, and they're all profiting from war. Do we want to be taking advice from these people when they're profiting from war? They're really, journalism has to step up and say, listen, if you have a personal benefit from this, even if you are, you need to come out and say it. You need to come out and say, listen, I'm talking about I'm talking about the situation in South Korea. But I was vice president to a company that profited on contracts from defense contracts in South Korea. Right? We need to know this information, or they just shouldn't even be put on there. You can't find people that know about South Korea and North Korea, that within the last 5 years haven't worked for a defense contracting company. We can't do that? Okay, let me look down here. This is infuriating. Thank you. I feel your pain. By the way, Fox News is interviewing drug smuggler Oliver North about the hit on Soleimani. I have no idea who the Soleimani guy is. I apologize, or girl. I don't know. I probably do, but I'm horrible with names. I'll probably read it and go, oh, that dude. Okay, MSM is a controlled narrative. Yeah, it is. And trust me, people. Y'all, we need to... I think what they did was illegal. I don't think you can legally interfere with that process, especially when you have a dog in the fight, right? Huntsman, if my story on Jones had ever come out, it would have exposed what these guys were all doing. It would have exposed what everybody was doing, right? It's obvious. And I don't know if anybody did anything untoward, but they've put themselves in these positions. And what happened to me was jacked up. And what happened to me wasn't really happening to me. It was actually happening to everybody else. I was just the only one that noticed it happen. And by the way, I got blocked on Twitter for 12 hours because I was a little upset. Didn't make anything threatening. I was just kind of like talking like I am now, saying how, wow, this is probably illegal, and I'm pissed off because I just found out with indisputable evidence that people who have been blocking my attempt to protect national security, because that was my job, these people blocking it are blocking it to protect themselves from exposing themselves what potentially, if these bank records are correct, that they too were involved in. And even if they weren't involved in that, but me going after General Jones and showing what he did in South Korea is going to damage the Atlantic Council, again, damaging all of these people. But we're allowing this to happen. It's been 34 minutes, way over time. Let me look at these. Aristocrats of both sides serve the oligarch. They absolutely do. People see there that it doesn't matter. They call themselves communist conservatives. They are neither. They are pimps for the oligarchs. I couldn't agree more with you on that. One of the highest honors bestowed to the governor of Indiana is the Sagamore Wabash. Right? My friend Fred Taylor. I actually know two people. Fred Taylor, 3-time Purple Heart recipient, and a guy named Core. I don't know his first name, but his last name is Core. And I'm good friends from a long time ago with his son. And the Core guy is got the Sagamore of the Wabash. So yeah, so I don't know if Pence is a good guy or a bad guy. But I do know that the idea was to stop Trump. When that failed, then it was, stop Hillary and have a plan B, just like what those folks were talking about. So, at any rate, I'm going to let you all go. Working on Shadownet.tv. I need some help with that. Go to my Patreon site, patreon.com/the Shadownet Hacker. George Colella with Bikers for 45. He's going up to Virginia for a Second Amendment run on January 20th. I would like to join him. I would like to take my studio equipment here, be able to do live broadcasts, be able to put together information. Now, if you guys can help me sufficiently enough on Patreon to get me to DC, not just to, I'm going to Virginia anyway, but get me to DC for like a week. I will be knocking on every damn door there is, and I did it a few weeks ago. I went to the two key places that I really wanted to go to. Three key places I really wanted to go to. I'm kind of ticked off I didn't go to Adam Schiff. I should have went to the Democrats that I sent this information to. But, I don't know. I don't think it smells very good on that side of the... I'm just kidding. They called me a smelly Walmart guy, so... Oh, real quick. Yeah, you like my Donald Trump is my president? F your feelings. Got that at the Christmas party from a guy with a huge truck. That bumper sticker would actually be small on this man's Trump train truck bumper. So, anyway, I'm going to sign off now. Please, again, use any help I can get. If I can raise enough money to spend a little more time, I'd like to be able to go up to New York, too. I'd love to be able to walk right into Fox News studio and ask these people what are going on. And I kind of think you guys get the idea that I'm pissed off enough to do it. Now, I'm not going to break the law. I'm not threatening anybody here. I'm just a damn whistleblower, a patriot, a former PFC and a whistleblower. So, I'd like some answers here. And I think you guys should want some answers, too. Again, please share this. I'm blocked on Twitter till probably about 10 or 11 tomorrow afternoon, maybe 12 o'clock. It was stupid that I got blocked. I think I got blocked just for the purpose of they made me delete the tweet. So now that tweet's gone. And that tweet exposes, Fox News at the highest level. Folks, this is a game that you're being played in. And you got one opportunity right now. I am a real person. I am not a joke. I think I've put enough information online. I put enough information up there. I've spoken about this long enough, and you can go back into my comments and see how right I've been about all of this. Help me out, guys. I could really use some help. Thank you very much. Have a great evening, and God bless. Please share this as much as humanly possible. Thank you, folks. Good night.